Yo, what's up? It's Sean Croxton of DrWellness.com, hanging out with Dr. Tom O'Brien of theDr.com and theGlutenSummit.com. Dr. Tom, I mean, I've told you this many times before, but the Gluten Summit was absolutely amazing. You really helped a lot of people. You know that, right?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. The feedback has been more than we ever could have dreamt of. And we've had, our best count is over 17,000 people that wrote comments to us.
Wow.
And that means I've had a lot of staff that have been reading these comments and trying to answer questions where we can. And there have been so many questions, so many really good questions, that I decided, you know what? We have to take this to the next step and help people know, what do you do now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure that's what a lot of people thought. They're like, okay, we've got all this information. We got 20-something presentations. We took notes. We commented. We built this huge community and whatnot. So what's our next step? The next step is coming up very soon, right? You're doing a webinar.
Yes, the webinar is coming up. It's now that you know, where do you go? Mm-hmm. And the idea is, and this is the caption I have for it, this is where the pedal hits the metal. Mm-hmm. This is where the rubber hits the road. And this is where the Twinkies hit the garbage can. They got to go.
Seriously. What are you going to be talking about in this webinar?
What tests do I do? Mm-hmm. How do I talk to my doctor about these tests? What can I give my doctor so that he knows about these tests and the value of them? Which tests would be good for me? How do we interpret the tests? Mm-hmm. How do I deal with the problems that have accumulated from having these food sensitivities for so many years? What nutrition do I take? Do I need nutrition? If I need nutrition, what nutrition do I take? Is it good nutrition, not good nutrition? These are the things that many doctors know of, some of the nutritional protocols, but many don't know about the right tests to do. So we're going to talk about the tests. What tests, when to do them, how do you get them, and how do you give the information to your doctor to get those tests. We've put 5 interviews back up online. There's homework.
Which ones are those?
The 5 interviews that we've put back up online, I picked because those are the ones that really nail down the impact of gluten sensitivity. How can it impact me? Why would it impact this way? That is Dr. Vojdani, talking about the testing, the accurate testing for gluten sensitivity or celiac disease. Dr. Marsh, the godfather of celiac disease diagnosis. And that is a critical one. If you want your doctors to know and to understand how gluten may manifest without celiac disease, because so many doctors think you have to have a gut problem, Dr. Marsh's interview was just mind-blowing, and so many have said that. And that is the one that you would want to give to your doctors. Dr. Volta, the godfather of non-celiac gluten sensitivity, talking about the many manifestations of non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Dr. Schoenfeld, the godfather of predictive autoimmunity, talking about how the autoimmune process can be triggered by a sensitivity to gluten, and it manifests wherever your genetic weak link is.
Right.
And Dr. Perlmutter, who just wrote Grain Brain.
Right.
Talking about how gluten sensitivity can manifest in the brain, many of its manifestations. Those 5 are, in my opinion, really of value to review again, to take the time before listening to the webinar, now that you know where do you go, listen to these interviews again because it'll be fresh in your mind. Mm-hmm. And there was one more piece of homework, and that was the National Public Radio video. It's a cartoon video that just came out recently. It's 5 minutes long, and it talks about the critical nature of the good bacteria in the gut and how that good bacteria in the gut controls, in many ways, the function of our brains, whether we're happy or sad, depressed, or anxious, schizophrenia. Many of our different brain dysfunction symptoms can be, not always are, but can be caused by an imbalance in bacteria in the gut. And NPR did a very good job of elaborating that in everyday language.
I love that this is becoming more in the mainstream.
Exactly, isn't it great?
Yeah, because of people like you getting the information out.
And you.
I'll try. Yeah. So tell our audience how they get signed up for the webinar.
Sure. www.theglutensummit.com. Just go there. That's our homepage. That's where the 5 interviews